Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is ZillaFan85 back today with my latest video, my latest figure review. And for today's video, as I had previously mentioned, because King Goji had been asking, or at least had mentioned in one of his latest videos about me doing this, I wanted to go ahead and review my MonsterArts Godzilla 1989 figure. So this is the, the 6-inch figure, so the newer released one that came out last year. I was really excited to pick this up. The 89/91 Godzilla design, the Biogoji, that is my, that is my all-time favorite Godzilla design. The Biogoji / Gedo Goji, which are essentially the same. The Gedo Goji, the 91, does have a bit of design tweaks that they did, including making like the chest area more muscular looking, and giving him a little bit of a meaner look. So from that perspective, I if I had to pick it apart, I would take the 91 as my single all-time favorite. But since it's essentially the same, again, I'll group it together, the 89/91 design. So like I said, when MonsterArts released this, I was super excited to get a hold of this. They did previously, a few years back, release that 8-inch one, that Triple K one that had the lights, sound, etc. But I wanted just a standard 6-inch figure just to fit in with the rest of my Godzilla figures. So, again, this is the 89 Godzilla from, of course, the film of that year, Godzilla vs. Biollante. Definitely in my top 10 favorite Godzilla films of all time. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love Biollante. I do have the MonsterArts Biollante. I'm going to review that in the future. So we will get around to reviewing her. Not going to, with size comparisons, not going to bring her in for this video, just to let you know up front, because of the fact that I haven't reviewed it yet. But when it's her turn for the review, which will be sometime down the line, obviously I'll bring this guy into that video to do the comparison then. Okay, so anyways, we will jump into it here. Oh, and just to let you know, I did get the NECA Godzilla 1989 figure as well. Which I like that figure, but as some other people have stated, just really doesn't seem to effectively capture the 1989 Godzilla appearance, at least not in my opinion anyway. So I know that that Super 7 is releasing an 89 Godzilla along with a rose form Biollante. I believe they're in the 8-inch scale, and I'm definitely intrigued by that, especially by the rose form Biollante, but we'll see what happens. I think those figures get released later in the year. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this with the paint and the detail. Just to let you know, for most of my MonsterArts figures, I did not keep any of the boxes. They're cool boxes. I like them, but for spatial reasons, I have to get rid of most of my boxes. Again, I really didn't keep any of the NECA Godzilla boxes either, just really the poster art on the front. So, and some of the inserts, but otherwise, though, yeah, not really keeping the boxes, so that's why you won't see it here. And just to let you know as well, there's no accessories with this guy, which is kind of unfortunate. I would have liked a, beam, or maybe even, I think would be really cool if they had like a nuclear pulse, effect. And this, Godzilla vs. Biollante was actually the first time you saw Godzilla use the nuclear pulse, when the Biollante's vines were attacking him. Anyway, so starting with the paint and the details, so you see here, I know the lighting, but doing the best I can with it. So you got that signature charcoalish gray color for Godzilla. You can see all around the main parts of his body, all of his skin. Really captures that signature charcoalish color, and you got some shading on it as well. It's a little hard to tell, but you can definitely see here. Really looks good. You've got all the scales, all the bumps and the scales going all down his body, and the legs got that sort of muscular look that this Godzilla was known for, that thick muscular look that he had there. There it looks good. The arms too, with all the folds and scales on them. Very, gives it a very suit accurate appearance. I have to say, I really, really love the SH Monster Arts figures. I mean, they are pound for pound my favorite figures in my collection, because I just think they do such a great job. I know that they have some quality issues, which we'll get into, but overall they are just fantastic figures. So you guys can see again, moving up, looking on the face there, again with the scales on the face, and then of course the rivets. Very signature of the '89 Godzilla. On the top of the head here, those rivets that sort of lead into the spines. As you guys can see, those look really good. You got the eyes with that, which look fantastic. NECA, to me, really failed on the face here, where MonsterArts picked it up perfectly. Because you see with the eyes, if you can hopefully see if the camera picks it, you got those sort of orangish brown eyes with the black dots for the pupils in the center there, and on the other side as well. And that is very signature of the Biollante design. Like I said, they really did a fantastic job with that. Really, really looks movie accurate to me. When you look at that face, you can see that that's the Biollante. That's the '89 Godzilla, honestly. Really, really love that. It's got, because it's got that very feline-like appearance. That's one thing people note, and that is very true. Of course, you got the nice prominent eyebrows there. So you got the ears on the side of the head, so they made sure to capture that detail there. And on the other side as well. Here, right behind the eyebrow there, so you guys can see. Got the nostrils etched in very well. Nice texturing on the mouth. And of course you got the jaw itself, the lower jaw, which does have a bit of that curvature to it that some people have noted. So it doesn't allow it to fully close, which we'll get into with the articulation. But I still think it looks great, though, honestly. The teeth etched in. Not etched in, but the teeth sculpted very well. Individually sculpted, and you do have the double rows of teeth that the Heisei Godzilla is known for. That tongue, that sort of wet wash, deep red for the tongue and the inside of the mouth there. Hopefully the camera will pick that up for you guys so that you can see that. Now, the one thing with the teeth, and this has been, again, with that kind of quality issue, this has been the case on a lot of these figures here, this '89 Godzilla from MonsterArts, that you see some of the red bleeding onto the teeth there. You guys can, hopefully, again, the camera picks it up, because I do want to showcase that. Again, that's kind of a quality issue there. So that's the one thing, and this is, like I said, this seems to be a common problem with this Godzilla figure. But, it doesn't, still to me, doesn't really detract too much away from it, even with the paint bleeding onto the teeth a little bit. So, otherwise, the teeth done in this sort of off-white bone color, and I think they look really good, and they're nice and sharp. They're kind of small, but they still do the job very well. And of course, you got the two, you got the fangs in the front there and all that. Again, with a little bit of the paint bleeding onto it, but still looks really, really good nonetheless. And then again, you got the folds, segments going along the neck into the shoulders here. Again, all the scaliness on them. You got that nice, somewhat muscular chest, which again was more muscular in the '91 design, but still looks really good with those lines that go down on the chest there. All the scales, again, the abdomen there. Again, really, really looks good. And now you got the dorsal spines here, which start from the top of the head and run all the way down the body. You got the larger plates on his back there, the 3 rows of the larger plates with the small outside ones. You got sort of the you got a bit of the charcoalish color in the center, and then it fades into this sort of like a smoky gray color for the outside And I think it really looks cool. These really look signature of the '89 Godzilla design. And of course, it runs all the way down onto the tail, and they don't skip a beat because you got it painted and detailed, running all the way down the tail, all the way just about to the tip there. So really, really captured very well. You got the hands here, sort of these claws there with the sort of almost like an ivory color, like a yellowish ivory bone color for the finger claws. Nice and sharp to the touch. Nice hard plastic there. Same thing with the other side as well. And then of course the toenails, the toe claws, have even more of that ivory bone color look. You know, even like a darker yellowish ivory bone color, if you will. Really, really detailed. Well, I love the way that they did these claws, honestly. Really, really looks cool. And then, of course, you got the YS, because this was sculpted. The famous sculptor, Yuji Sakai, he did this, and he's very, very well known for his sculpting work here. So you got his signatures there, and then, of course, you got the Toho trademark information on the other foot. So all that copyright information there. And otherwise looks really good. The tail, again, got all the segments there, all the detail work, the softer part of the scaliness on the underside of the tail, and all the segments and scaliness running along the tail here. And it's just really, really awesome, folks. So there's, you know, when you go over these figures, there's a lot to go over. I know I ramble a bit, but, you know, again, it's a lot to go over. So that should about cover it, though, for the paint and the detail. Let's go ahead with the articulation. And again, that's another thing SH MonsterArts is heavily, heavily known for, is their articulation. So these are super articulated figures. Now, from pretty much my experience, everything I've seen, all the reviews in the past from other MonsterArts figures, along with just owning a bunch of these now. I have a lot of MonsterArts figures in my collection. Essentially what they do is it's really like a series of ball joints that they use for the most part, for all the points of articulation. So it's to, you know, obviously the ball joints try to help with the range of movement. So, so you actually do have a ball joint here at the jaw, and you close it, and that's about as good as you can do. That's what I'm saying. That curvature does create a little bit of a gap. Other reviewers have said the same thing, but not bad though, honestly. And most of the time I have it displayed with the mouth open anyway. And yeah, this is the one thing though I want to personally point out with them doing ball joints for the mouths, which is signature what they do. Like I said, to me, you'd be better with a hinge. I really don't see the point of having a ball joint there, but that's, you know, that's me. The tongue is actually articulated. There's a ball joint on it. You really would need to either like really try to get in there with your fingernail or try to use a pen or something to articulate it. I'm not going to do it because I've seen, you know, every time I've seen other people try to mess with it, it tends to pop off. And that's the one thing with these ball joints and with the MonsterArts figures is the joints tend to pop off a lot. So with that tongue, definitely could be an issue. I don't really want to mess with that and have a really hell of a hard time trying to put it back in place. So I'm not going to mess with it, but there is a ball joint there to move the tongue. So you can see it almost sort of wiggle a little bit if I touch it, but like I said, I'm not going to mess with it too much. Got a ball joint here where the head meets the neck, so you can look down, you can look up, you can turn. I know it's not showing much, it is kind of stiff, the joints on him, but you can turn it if you really want to go all the way around. You can. I'm not going to, but you do have a secondary ball joint here at the base of the neck, and then of course you see though where it does tend to want to pop out, but it does help the range of movement. Again though, it's very, very stiff, so I don't really want to mess with it too much. There's actually segment here and a segment here where it goes into the shoulder, so you could see the split. And you could hear how stiff it is, and like I said, I don't really feel like dealing with stuff popping out of place, so I'm going to be very ginger with how I move it. Ball joint here at the shoulders, so you can go up. You can get a bit of a T-pose there, and of course swivel as well. The arms on the ball joint, they hinge, and there you go. See? That's the one thing to note with these MonsterArts figures. The joints tend to pop out of place a lot, especially if you're really messing with them. But you can hinge out, hinge inward. Yeah, you can get a bit of that. I know people have done it. Mine not really able to work it too much, where you can try to get him to do that sort of cross arm look against his chest. I'm not going to mess with that too much. Anyways, so the hands also on a ball joint here, so they can hinge out, and of course swivel. So you got the swivel hinge combo there. You got the looks like you got a ball joint here at the waist, and very, very limited movement there. I think some other figures, some other reviewers I've seen, they do have more range of movement. Mine, like I said, it's kind of stiff. I don't usually move him much. So I sort of have him, I just have him on my shelf mainly for display. So I haven't really messed with the articulation too much on him. But you can turn a little bit. You got a very little bit of an ab crunch, a little bit back as well. You hear the joints creaking as I'm moving them. Then here at the hips, you got these flaps to help hide the joints. You got these free-floating pieces as you see, and you got the ball joints here at the hips, so you can do the splits, get out about that much, go in about that much. You can kick forward, you can kick back, and of course you got a ball joint. I believe it's actually a ball joint, not a hinge here at the knee. And you can hinge inward and outward, and again you get a swivel with that as well. Hinge in, out, and the swivel. And then going down to the ankles here, you got a ball joint there, so you can hinge back, hinge forward, back, and forward. Hopefully you guys can kind of tell you got a little bit of a pivot, so a bit of an ankle rocker there. Not drastic, anything drastic there. You can turn it as well. I'll try to turn it without turning the whole leg. Yeah, you can hear how stiff the joints are. But yeah, so you got all that range of movement, though. I mean, you know, I know it's limited, but again, though, with with Godzilla, when you think about it, how you know, dynamic of poses are you going to try to get him in anyway? And then, of course, big thing of note, as these MonsterArts figures always excel in, are their tails. So you got this really nice long tail, ball jointed segments pretty much all the way up till about right there. So you can see I'm not going to get crazy with it. You can definitely do some nice poses. Again, I don't want to get too crazy because these joints will have a tendency to pop out of place. But you see, though, you got the nice little S curve there. And you can turn it, you can move it in all kinds of different directions. So really, really cool. Definitely, like I said, definitely love that tail. It's nice and long, and like I said, all those ball jointed segments really add to the posability on him. Just like I said, though, be mindful because these joints do have a tendency to pop out of place. I know I'm not the first one to say that on the MonsterArts figures, but definitely something to note. So that, otherwise, though, that pretty much covers it for the articulation here. So like I said, then as far as sizing goes, he is in the 6-inch scale. So he will size in well with your 6 to 7-inch figures. For the purposes of this video, like I said, not going to bring out Biollante because I haven't done the review on her yet. So you'll see that size comparison whenever I do get around on reviewing her. I'll bring him into the mix, like I said. But just to give you the generic size comparison, I brought out the 1954 Godzilla. Now he's more like in that 7-inch range, so you can see he is a little bit bigger than the MonsterArts Godzilla 1989. However, still looks pretty good together. Like I said, he'll fit in quite well with your 6 to 7-inch figures. So, other than that, though, I think that should about cover it for that. Now, pricing on him, now it just depends. Obviously, it's one thing to note with the MonsterArts figures, they are not cheap. They are quite pricey. So, the MSRP on this guy was about $95, I believe. Unfortunately, I paid a little bit more than that, even though I did, get a pre-sale on it. But I bought it from a domestic seller, so I paid a bit more. But that's the MSRP. If you can get it for that, I think that's a pretty good deal. Even though, yeah, it doesn't come with any accessories, which is, again, something to note. But I have seen him going for upwards of about twice that price. So do be mindful of that if you're going to try and get a hold of this guy. But, it just depends. Again, it is what it is with SH MonsterArts. They're expensive figures, and after their release, their value tends to just go up and up. So, but if you are in the market, I really think this is a top-notch representation of the 1989 Godzilla. Hopefully the walking doesn't bother you. It's just my dog. But anyways, though, folks, really, like I said, really a great representation, in my opinion, of the 1989 Godzilla. Again, the 89/91 Godzilla design is my all-time favorite Godzilla design. And I think other than that, though, that does about wrap it up for this video. I would like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.